Hello, Learning Birds. This is Mr. Buffington, and this is our lesson on expository essays. We're going to look at the thesis statement. What is this thesis I've heard so much about? We've talked about it in pretty much all the lessons up to this point. We're going to discuss what a thesis is. We're going to look at a three-prong thesis and share some examples of a three-prong thesis and explain why those are important. And then we're going to play a game called Spot the Thesis at the end to try and test your knowledge, see if you've learned what a thesis is. So a thesis or thesis statement is the point of your paper. It's the point of the essay. If in an expository piece you're trying to share information about something, it's what you're trying to share information about. That's the thesis statement. Everything in the paper will support the point that you're trying to make. So those three paragraphs that we have of supporting details, they are all supporting what? The thesis. They're trying to support that point. All the content that you have supports your thesis, tries to make your thesis make sense. There's one type of thesis that is very often used. I like this type, so I'm going to talk about it. It's called a three-prong thesis. It states three major points that support your thesis right inside of what we call the thesis statement. So usually in the same sentence as the thesis, we state 3 points that would support your thesis. Okay? Those 3 points will then be expanded into the body of the essay. They will be expanded into 3 separate paragraphs called the body of the essay that are your supporting details. So basically, this works really well with a 5-paragraph essay format. You state the thesis with 3 major points in it, so your 3-pronged thesis. Then you have 3 paragraphs of supporting detail that are taken from that thesis statement, and then you have a conclusion. So it's the backbone of all that you'll do inside the essay is getting that thesis statement correct. Let me show you an example of a 3-pronged thesis. The snow, sports, and beauty make winter the best time of the year. Okay, the snow, sports, and beauty. Those are the 3 things. So I would have a paragraph about the snow, a paragraph about this winter sports, and a paragraph of how beautiful things are, and that would make it winter the best time of the year. The thesis is that winter is the best time of the year, and the supporting points are the snow, sports, and beauty. Let's look at another example of a 3-pronged thesis. Shakespeare shows through his comedies, tragedies, and poetry that he is the best writer ever. The thesis, or the point you're trying to make, is that Shakespeare is the best writer ever. And the 3 supporting details are his comedies, his tragedies, and his poetry. So then you'd use those as examples throughout the essay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to play the game Spot That Thesis, or Spot the Thesis Statement, inside of this paragraph. I've never laughed so hard in all my life. This past weekend I was able to enjoy the summer blockbuster Pie and Face. The screenplay, casting, and directing made it the best movie I've seen in years. It was easy to choose a rating for this movie. There we are. So look for the thesis statement in there. There's a bunch of other information. There's an attention getter and a conclusion. But boom, right in the middle there, that's our thesis statement. The screenplay, casting, and directing made it the best movie I've seen in years. And those are the 3 points that will be made throughout this movie review. Just threw out a random example. All right, let's do it again. I do not like them in a box. I do not like them with a fox. Dr. Seuss. For millions of people, these catchy words bring back memories of story time. Through his memorable characters, meaningful lessons, and mesmerizing artistry, Dr. Seuss has promoted reading throughout the world. Nobody before or since has had the same kind of impact as Dr. Seuss. Where's the thesis statement in this one? We're going to talk about this thesis statement a little bit more. A thesis statement's right in the middle there. Through his 1. Memorable characters, 2. Meaningful lessons, 3. Mesmerizing artistry. Those are the 3 points that will be made. Dr. Seuss has promoted reading throughout the world. So the thesis is that Dr. Seuss has promoted reading throughout the world, and the three things I mentioned before are the supporting details. Now, notice with this I used memorable characters, meaningful lesson, mesmerizing artistry. I tried to do that on purpose to show that each of the points is balanced. You have two words. Not only that, I made two words, the first one starting with an M to make a little bit of alliteration in there. When you're writing a three-prong thesis, you want to have it balanced so that the points are basically the same. They're balanced like they are in this example. So, some things to remember about a thesis. The thesis is the point of your paper. A three-prong thesis sets up the entire backbone for your 5-paragraph essay. And remember to stay focused on supporting your thesis no matter what. Hope that lesson's helped you to understand what a thesis is. Have a wonderful day.